All right, I want to welcome everybody back to another episode of Coffee and Cigar Talk, where we keep it real, we keep it funky, we talk about real problems with real people. So, as we dig in today, our first topic here is so it's been a lot going on, right? As far as like big name public figures, things that come to mind are just me thinking right now is the Will Smith incident with the Chris Rock slap. I seen recently with the Ja Morant situation with the posting of the gun on Instagram Live. And so I just want to know what comes to mind for you guys when someone makes the statement that was completely out of my character. What does that mean for you?
Oof. I guess as humans, man, we're programmed to be one way, and the default is like Jordan Peterson said, being meek, what is considered by standard definition, not Greek definition. But sometimes we make mistakes, and I do think it's okay to say, that was out of character. Prime example would be, yeah, like most of my life. I wanted to be a monster. Like I wanted to destroy people. Like I idolized Jordan, even though I was a LeBron fan, because he humiliated people. When I dated, like especially in college, my goal was like I wanted as many trophies as possible to go on campus and slay as many dragons that I could say that Ricky conquered this earth. But as I matured and grew, I realized that that was me out of character. And I had to deal with a lot of remorse to say, I don't want to be that type of person or individual anymore. I want to be someone that could be a beacon of light and hope and also uh, give back to young individuals so I could show them a better way. So I guess when you say that, it's like, yeah, this was me, but now there's remorse because, I was acting with a certain type of intention and energy that I wasn't unaware of that there was another way that you could be capable of doing things.
I like that.
Um, yeah, for me, as far as well, like you said, the quote, getting out of character. It- my let's just say in the realm or example of if somebody feels disrespected or things of that nature, my thoughts, me personally, my thoughts and my actions are inverse. Like my thought, based on how my upbringing and who I was raised around, whatever. My thought process, like when somebody gets disrespected or bumped into whatever, my thought process is like, oh, okay, bro, my fault, you know what I'm saying, whatever. But some people try to go out for different reasons, so it's kind of like my thought process in case of being disrespected is like, okay, bro, you don't know who you're dealing with, but the action is mode. I just came in to have a good time. So for my first process is the act of fool. So it's like, okay, I can't. Outside looking in is immature because what they say, two men arguing from afar, you don't know who's a fool. So it's like, okay, let my action be peaceful. It's like, hey, bro, I know you need to bump into me, whatever. So my thoughts and actions are inverse, but that doesn't mean I'm not capable of. My first thought was to, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like in character and out of character is it's a thin line because I want to go home like everybody else. I come out like we could laugh, joke, talk, whatever, but at the end of the day, it's a good time or good night don't mean shit if we don't make it home. It don't mean shit if we don't make it home. Even the example of Avery, I don't know if you remember we was in DC and like an altercation about to break out in the nightclub. And I'll tell you, I say, bro, hey, look, I don't know about anybody else, but me and you go make it out of here. Me and you go make it out. I don't care. I don't care. Get damn about nobody else in DC. We gonna make it out. You like, bro, man, I just got out here in the Navy, bro. I can't do nothing. And I was like, Boo Street. I say, when you about to cross the Mexican border, oh, you can't. I mean, but I can't. You can't cross the border, but I can. But like, bro, it's just like I just like I but I just like I said, it's cliche, but I just want to go out with my people, have a few talks, few drinks, go home. That's it. And I don't want to be out of character, but I'm capable. That makes sense. Like what they say, you rather be a gardener in the war or a warrior in the garden. Like I don't want to have to act a fool. I don't want to have to be forehead to forehead with somebody when I go out, but I'm gonna make it home. So that in character, our character is so thin. It's a thin line for me. So, but hey.
So yeah, I think for me, right? So when I kind of process it, because I used to look back like on things I did when I was younger, right? And say, man, I used to say it was out of character for me. I kind of view it differently now. I think it's very much a part of my character. The things I did. So the times where I can look back and say, man, I shouldn't have been drinking. I started asking why I did those things. Because I think the reason why I did those things is part of my character. The way I decided to express it, maybe not so a good representation of me, but I think those things were a part of my character as far as my lack of maturity at that time or whatever. Like I possessed I matured along the way, but when I was younger, my maturity in certain areas of my life wasn't where it should have been, and my actions was a reflection of that. So I think it's kind of like you have to show yourself some grace to a sense or whatever, because like I think it's very much a part of who we are, whatever. I think even when Jordan Peterson was talking earlier, he was talking about the monster inside of us or whatever. And I always had this in mind that like even when we watching these people do all these insane things, right? Like from going into buildings and shooting them up and all that type of stuff or whatever, like we are capable of all those same things. You know what I mean? The difference is here. You know what I mean? From a mental perspective or whatever. Like that's a part of us too. Now, of course, we're not sitting here like, let me go and plan out like me going up in here and robbing a bank or whatever. Like if you are, do not say this while we're recording though. Like, but I think I personally think like when I hear it, right, it has to, I have to consider the setting and who it's coming from. Like if you doing something continuously and telling me each time it's out of my character, now I have to associate that saying with an excuse to hold your own self accountable. So I guess it depends on the background of it. You know what I mean? So if it's a one-time thing, but if it's a continuous thing and you like if it's 4 times, like for instance, if I just keep drinking, right? And then I keep telling Rick, man, I need to stop drinking, man. I'm over here keep throwing up all over your floor. And I done did it 3 times. And every time I tell Rick, man, it's outside my character. Rick had a right to feel like, nah, bro, that's a part. That's who you are. You a drunk. Like that's where Rick has the right to tell me. That's a part of who I am or whatever. Like as of right now, but I can do things to control, to discipline myself or whatever. But that's a part of who I am. That's a part of me or whatever. Like I think like that's how we grow into the people we are. Or whatever we take those things that you consider outside my character or whatever, and you grow from it. That's a part of your vulnerability. Like when you want to impact people, right? People don't want to hear when all these things are like flowing properly or whatever. It's the things that sucks to talk about that puts you in a place where it provides understanding for people like, oh man, I was experiencing something close to that too. So for me, I think it's a part of us.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one, Avery. I'm gonna say this from my own, experience, especially like how we grew up in Acres Home, Texas. So it was the easy route. Let's say if we was having an altercation or getting into it with somebody, exchanging words, the easy route is kind of like, okay, well, what you want to do? Let's step outside, let's handle it like men or whatever the case may be. See, that's growing up in that environment, that's what we were used to. So that's the mentality that we had. So that was the easy route for us. I feel like for me, the challenge is to walk away. So now I didn't really understand when I was younger the saying, a wise man once said nothing at all. So now that I'm getting older, maturing, growth, is kind of like I'm gaining control over how I used to be when I was younger. So a person can say something to me bad and call me all out my name. That's cool. That's fine. I'm gonna keep going. Now, back in my earlier days, I'd be ready to fight. But see now,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give it in. I'm not gonna give it any energy.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, like the out of my character, because then at that point it's kind of like you realize, like, man, I shouldn't have done that.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Speaking facts. Speaking facts. That boy DJ thought he was gonna be a boxer back in the day.
Yeah. I remember my girl asked me, she said, man, you're so angry, you're so aggressive. I said, I bet you got into a lot of fights. I said, yeah, I bet I did too. I said, you know, it's a fight with me because I walked up and hit you, and then we started fighting.
Boy,
How much we're
But I
talking.
think the nature of like men alone, you know what I mean? It's just when you associate like aggressive nature, we try
Yeah.
to learn to mature and to control emotions, and on top of an environment with people with other brothers just like us. You know what I mean? Like it's about you know what I mean? It's a learning process all around. Like
It is. It is. It's the control factor that come involved too, though. Yeah.
yeah, because if you'd have
You
told,
live and you learn, though. You gotta
yeah,
learn.
yeah, because if 30-year-old Avery was talking to 18-year-old Avery and telling 18-year-old Avery, hey man, you need to control your emotions, man. Old buddy gonna walk over here, he gonna bump into you, but you need to show him some grace. I was like, hell no, I ain't showing no grace.
Hey, exactly. That's what I
He
mean. Like in
intentionally
those younger
walked over
days,
here and did it.
hell
Like,
nah. We
hey,
wouldn't be trying to hear that shit.
hey, bro, look me in my eyes and everything. See, that's the worst part. Look me in my eyes. You say, fuck this nigga, just go do. I'm like, what?
Man,
No,
he come up.
no,
He come
nah.
over in my younger days. He come over here and bump me. It's gonna be a tables, ladders, and chairs match up in this restaurant.
Was that Hardy Boys? Tootin'.
Yeah.
No,
What's that? 3D, DJ, 3D.
Shit. Da-da, da-da, da-da. Yeah.
Right, for real, dude. I'm give you a kick to the gut, stunner.
We finna tussle up in here. No, who you
Straight
think? Yeah, like the old Ray Charles Pepsi commercial. You got the right one, baby.
Retarded.
All right.
Oh man.
Yeah, all those are some good points, right? So like that's why I like having these discussions. To kind of move on to our next topic.
Oh,
What happened to our Black leaders in a community? Or if you feel like they still exist, explain that part to me, and then anybody can start.
One, just my initial thought, like what if we have them, but we know how shunned and how harassed our Black leaders like you could be a Black leader, but when you're too powerful, maybe you have too much of a following, you start getting shunned, you start getting harassed, you start getting that ridicule and attention. You really do like the attention that you're doing Black positivity and you're moving Black culture. Yeah, you get that, but you also get all types of other attention you don't want. So it's like, I want to be a leader. I want to give 50,000 to this Black foundation, but I want to do it quietly. Because we had like back in the day, public like standing in front Black leaders, like, and even then, even with now, like we look at our athletes to be our Black leaders. We look at LeBron to be our Black leaders. We look at so and so, which he is. Don't get me wrong, but he's not obligated to do that. But he just took on that stance. Don't get me wrong, Jordan was the best player shit since forever, but he touched on Black topics and Black subjects every so often. And as he got older, he really stopped. Not saying he's not chunking up money to foundations and things, but he stopped because man, it's just you're gonna alienate somebody
Let me
because
ask you
Jordan's
something.
money, huh?
Let me ask you something. So
Go ahead.
you spoke on a lot there, right? What is your expectation if for the person that you feel like is a Black leader in the community? What is your expectation for them?
Pushing the game forward and spreading the knowledge that you don't think we're accessible to, even though I know now all knowledge is accessible, but maybe it might be some things that I may or may not know. Just being available to reach out to give it. Like, okay, you walk through the door, but like, okay, who else are you gonna turn around for? And it's crazy. Once again, you're not obligated to open the door. You're not obligated to spread the knowledge, but it's just that selflessness is like, hey, okay, I walk through this door. I've been through it. Okay, here go another brother or sister that's about to do it. Let me look beside me and let me reach back. Just man, man, it's a whole bunch of things, but that's the first thing, man. Just be selfless with it. That's the first thing I can think of, honestly.
So I'll change that to what happened to our Black thought leaders. Some of my hugest role models and inspirations, Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, Nikola Tesla, and Neville Goddard, they were never asked to uplift the white community, but they did, however, inspire change and thought. And I think that's where we kind of lost the disconnect. Kendrick Lamar even said, "I am not your savior." And so people often ask me, "How do you feel?" I said, "Well, I'm a spiritual being living a human experience that so happens to be Black. My job is not to die on a sword and save anyone." And often they teach in the manifesting and healing community that if you try to pull and save anyone, you're only burning two bridges, them and yourself. So I think the thing that we can do as human beings, especially within the community, is inspire change. Give just enough to where that person, like Anton said, you've seen me do it, so you can do it too. I think that's the greatest gift that you can give to anyone, because I would be a fool and reminiscent if I said, you know what, it's my job to go out here and show people who are constantly repeating the same behavior and character and saying, you know what, I was out of character when I did that, but help me again. So are you sure you want my help this time? Because now it feels like you're hurting me. No, trust me. So I think we have to start looking at inspiring change through our actions. Not only that, but inspiring the way that we do things strategically. Everything does not have to be announced. If we feel like we want to do something, you never heard Mark Zuckerberg say, "Man, I'm dropping this new Facebook app soon, man, to the world, people. I know it's only in universities, but hey, man, I got you. I'm gonna let you know when it's coming," and it never comes. So I think we have to start looking at, like, how do we inspire change and create that same inspiration to take inspired action within the community. And if we do that, you've taught a man to fish for a lifetime.
I like that one.
Sunday service has begun.
Right. That was well said.
I will say, to me, it's not really, well, the video that you played earlier with Daniel, to me, that's a prime example. That would be more of my expectations right there. And kind of like what Rick said, everything doesn't have to be announced. I don't have to be on Front Street letting everybody know what I'm doing or whatever the case may be. Like Meek Mill said, the things I'm doing in the hood, I won't get an award for. So, it's just, will it be fulfilling to your heart? Something that's good for your heart and soul. So
Right.
knowing what you're doing to give back to people, like I said, it's not always about money. Shit, you just being involved. That's another form of giving back. So, but I feel like my expectations, like Daniel's, was kind of like, he meets that criteria perfectly for me. That perfect word getting thrown back out there.
Yeah, and I think man, I always say, man, like the foundation is the household, man. Like building a solid foundation. And I probably say this every show, like a mother and father in the household changes the dynamic of everything, like legacy and everything. Like seriously, like having a mother and father in the household. There's a leadership factor that's associated with a man leading the household. There's a mission that the family's following or whatever. So we can ask for these leaders, right? We can associate ourselves, man, I need this and I need that. I need these mentors. But one thing I've learned over the time is what I had to learn to be an even greater follower. Like people are out searching these things or whatever, but your greatest leaders are following some amazing people. And so I think that's a big part of it, because I think we get caught up in a leader and a leadership roles and needing to be on Front Street or whatever. But you have to have the ability to be a great follower. Even looking back, just to kind of piggyback when y'all were talking about Anton Daniels, like Anton Daniels, early in his career was actually being mentored by Kevin Samuels, the Godfather or whatever, which is how he was able to grow his platform or whatever.
Mhm.
And that was a man, rest in peace, that was very knowledgeable, did a lot of research or whatever, but his ability to be a great follower led to improving his leadership. So I think and Rick hit it on the head or whatever, like it's based on like through our own actions or whatever. Like if you want to inspire, be that person that you want to see in the community or whatever. And for me, I feel like that has a longer lasting effect or whatever. Because it's just like we can't expect no one to come down and save us. Like that we won't ever see this whole Martin Luther King or these Malcolm X's, and they only had a time period. And it's funny that sometimes as a community, just speaking in general, we get so lost in the fact of like, oh, we don't have this, we don't have that. And then when we're given these things, the first thing we do when we see a person of color with greatness or whatever, we put them in this spotlight and we find the flaws in them.
Yep.
Great players, LeBron James, we find the flaws in them. Michael Jordan, as great as a basketball player, we find the flaws in him. We get caught up in things that don't even matter to us or whatever. He invested in prisons. He doing this or whatever. And not even doing no research and then finding out that's a whole nother Michael Jordan. But like we just get caught up in like we ask for these things, but I don't know if as a community that's what we really want. I think it's an excuse for us to take the spotlight off ourselves. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. So, because I don't have somebody leading the way. That's just the excuse. Like
another form of excuses.
Yeah, it's just another form of excuses. And we just go ahead, Rick.
I'm gonna ask this question: whose obligation and who said that we needed saving? Like who started this premise about saving? And a lot of people are not gonna like this. I don't really give a damn.
Hey,
One of the a lot of people will say like, man, Rick, man, you close to like an occultist, and like, but like some of the stuff I really read on like esoteric teachings and spirituality and alchemy. Like you go on my profile, it says I'm an alchemist. It's hidden in plain sight. And it also says in the Bible, just seek dominion and conquer. And then it also talks about the power of Christ is within you. If you translate the word Christ to law, it means the law or the spirit is within you. Emmanuel is the spirit within you. When you go to church, listen to the word Jesus or God, and then replace that with spirit. You notice that it talks about the power of spirit. He walked this earth. The spirit was with you the whole time, which means that we are gods, we are creators, you are perfect, you are somebody, you are special. Go out in this damn world and do it. And that's it, man. Like if we start looking at our own faults and our own successes and our own actions that we can take by taking inspired action, then you can get a lot in this world. Like it's no slavery. It's no, man, listen, you can apply for a tech job tomorrow. It's $130,000.
That's facts.
Slavery ain't gonna fix that. If you don't have financial literacy, you're gonna be broke after you get that check, brother. So I'm just saying, like, man, like we have to start looking at who hurt us by also saying, how can I be better?
Exactly.
You know, how can I, we still gonna need help, but how can I be better right now? Not tomorrow, not in the future, right now.
Yeah, we have to be result driven, right? Like I think our mindset as far as about planning for the future, we limited in that view. We caught up in historical moments that we don't have no control over at this point or whatever, but we can't keep holding on to that as an excuse for us not to move forward and flourish. And
correct.
You know what I mean?
Agree.
Like